private live stream to be setting blah 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 blah. All right. Mute this. All right. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right. And welcome back after a 2-week absence. Dropping the Hammer's back and ready to reload and get to work or something. I don't know. Reload and get to work. I don't know. I'm Dan McFadin, host of Dropping the Hammer, frontstretch.com and Speed Sport reporter covering NASCAR. And with me, as almost always, is Jon Bushapple LaFollette.
You know, there's been a lot going on lately. Like you said, it's been a while since we last talked. We didn't even get together after the Pocono race, I don't believe, with everything that went on with Denny Hamlin and everything. Plus the Indy road course.
Did we? Oh, God.
Plus the Indy road course and everything that went on.
I was traveling. I had things going on.
And this whole time, I've just had one searing question in the back of my mind about all this, and I gotta know, Daniel, what would Kyle Petty think?
What does Kyle Petty have to do with anything?
Yeah, podcast gold.
Did you see the shirt they're selling?
No, they're selling a shirt.
Yes, and I ordered one. So yeah,
of course you did. Does it just say what would Kyle Petty do?
No. Go look on Dirty Mo Media's website.
Oh,
it's a beautiful shirt. It's a beautiful shirt. But anyway, yeah, we are back after a few weeks off. I'd completely forgotten that we hadn't got to talk about Pocono, and I've been traveling the last 2 weeks.
I'm just seeing the shirt. Yes, it's great.
I've been traveling the last 2 weeks covering the NASCAR weekends at Indianapolis and Michigan. This was the first time in my NASCAR career I've been on the road 2 weekends in a row to cover a NASCAR races. It was my third time to cover races at Indianapolis, but my first time covering races at Michigan. So I got to spend a week up in Jackson, Michigan, and got to go to the 2-mile track that's basically almost in the middle of nowhere, which it just never ceases to amaze me that people built some of these racetracks just out in the middle of nowhere and they were successful, like Talladega, Michigan. Pocono, basically. I mean, I've never been to Pocono, but I feel like
it's out in the middle of nowhere. Yes,
it's out in the middle of nowhere.
I mean, God, even Bristol and Martinsville seem incredibly remote.
No, well, kind of. Like Martinsville's right there on a town. Like it's right there next to a school.
Okay.
Bristol, same thing. It's also kind of like nestled in the middle of these mountains, but it's still right there in a town. And the first time I went up there was a very weird experience because you're just driving down the highway and then all of a sudden you just round this bend and there's this huge monstrosity just that shouldn't be there, but it is.
And then when you turn the corner, you think, what does Kyle Petty think about all this? That's going to be like someone's like last words on their deathbed.
Incredible.
They're like, son. Yeah, Paul. Come closer. Closer. What would Kyle Petty think? And then like everyone in the like, they're not even like a racing fan. Like the rest of the family is just like, who's Kyle Petty? Like they're just like they just research and they just totally wonder why like their loved one just thought about Kyle Petty on his deathbed. And just one last troll, a deathbed troll. What a wasted life that sounds like. Anyways,
but Michigan is just like that. You're driving down US Highway 12, which is just kind of 2-lane highway, and then you just round a bend, and all of a sudden there's this huge 2-mile giant oval racing track just there. Did they have Tim Allen voice like any commercials for it? No. Because
like here in Indiana, I don't know if you've seen these ads, but in Indiana we get tourism ads for Michigan a bunch, and like he like narrates these commercials because he's from Detroit. So I like, what would he say? Like, did you used to do cocaine back in the 80s and then sold out and then sold out all your friends just like I did to advance your acting career?
All right.
If you did, then you'll enjoy Michigan Motor Speedway.
All right, I'm gonna edit that out.
No, that's what he did. That's what he did, Tim Allen.
I know.
Anyways,
I'm aware.
Yes.
Anyway, but yeah. So tracks that are in the middle of nowhere that shouldn't exist. Talladega, Michigan, Road America, just bizarre tracks that they exist. But Michigan, unlike Road America, where Road America just doesn't want you to know it's there. Michigan, like as soon as I crossed last Monday, I drove up from your place up to Michigan, and as soon as I crossed the state line into Michigan, within like, I don't know, maybe 3 miles, I saw a highway sign for Michigan International Speedway, this exit or whatever. Like, oh, okay, is it that close? No, it's not.
No.
But I saw more along my drive. It's like, oh, that's cool. At least I know which way to go. Unlike Road America, it's like a secret club you need a password to.
And at least you were rewarded for your efforts of driving all the way up there and doing the back-to-back with a pretty compelling weekend and a pretty good race. This next gen car just seems to crush it at any 1.5 mile or 2 mile oval that isn't named Texas Motor Speedway. Like it's
yeah. Well, I feel like there's two sides to this though with Michigan. Like at one point I tweeted in the middle of the race, like, this is an extremely watchable race. And that was like the middle of stage 2, I think. It's before that I had tweeted, I'm getting Atlanta 2001 vibes here, except you can't pass the leader. So,
yeah,
which was really it. Like there was plenty of passing going on, but just as soon as it, for a while anyway, it seemed just like as soon as you got to the leader, it's like, nope, not happening. But then that changed. We finally saw some green flag passes. But no, this was last year's race, the one that Ryan Blaney won, that ended with like multiple like cautions, like in the last like 20 laps. So you had these like short bursts, which made it slightly more memorable than it probably was in reality. So for my money, this race, which was won by Kevin Harvick, was probably like the most memorable Michigan race that I can remember, like 10 years, maybe. I don't know. This was the most attended race at Michigan since 2016, and the infield was sold out for the first time since 2012. So,
which is great. That's good news, and I think it just goes back to what we've kind of said about a lot of tracks that have lost their second date. Less can be more. Oh,
absolutely. But I in the back of my head, I'm thinking, okay, is this just a next gen car bump that we're seeing? People are just wanting to see what it looks like, and then next year we'll just plateau or whatever. So, but like as we've discussed multiple times this season, John, we've talked about like what tracks needed a next gen car to revive it in some form, and for me, Michigan was in the top 5. It largely succeeded. I thought because stage 2 was very fun to watch. With the battles between Trackhouse Racing, basically, versus Christopher Bell and Denny Hamlin. That was just, you could not look away. It was very, very fun. I was kind of confused by it though, by what Ross was trying to do, because I would just assumed, okay, you guys are linked up, you and Suarez, just run away. But Ross kept, trying to get past Suarez. So I was very confused by the strategy when you got two JGR guys right there.
Well, from the way they described it on the broadcast, and I don't know if you could hear the broadcast in the media center there at Michigan, but I think it was Jeff Burton, or maybe it was Earnhardt. Someone on there was saying that, especially in the turns, Suarez would kind of go middle of the turn and Chastain would go a little higher in the turn. And they say they were doing that basically just to put no matter where Christopher Bell went in the turns,
disturbance of air,
to create a bigger disturbance of air. Okay. But like I'm with you. I'm just like, if you guys just kind of go line by line, you can kind of run away from him here. I don't know if you'd get away from Denny Hamlin necessarily, because him and Bubba Wallace had the two best cars all weekend. It seemed like. But no, I mean, back to your original point. Yes, that whole segment of racing when Suarez was leading and Bell and Trackhouse and JGR up in the mix there, that was really good racing.
Yeah.
And that's something that I can't remember the last time we could say that about Michigan.
I almost at the time want to call is this like Michigan's equivalent to tandem drafting? Because that would have felt like for a little bit.
Yeah.
But they weren't like pushing each other literally, but it kind of visually had that dichotomy, I guess. So it was I enjoyed it for the most part. The first stage, I don't really remember much out in the first stage except Bubba Wallace leading up until basically the competition caution. Led the most laps of his career up to this point in a race. So, and earlier I went back and looked at the results for the last four races. Bubba Wallace, as far as I could tell from my eyes and just matching the race results, he's the only driver in the last four races to finish in the top 10 of all four races. And he's the only driver to have 3 top 5s in that span. So,
and that's a total 180, because just a couple episodes ago, all we could talk about was how bad the pit crew was.
Yeah.
We would say
and that never came up to at all.
No, and it seems like whatever changes that JGR has made as far as the 2311 crew and the swap that they had with Christopher Bell there seems like it's worked. And the speed is there now. And Bubba, after this race, he was devastated. He expected to win this race, and this is something that you haven't necessarily, obviously everyone wants to compete, but I'm just saying, this is something we haven't necessarily seen from Bubba Wallace before, because he hasn't necessarily been in a position where he expects to do well at a track like this, or at least to win, I should say. I know he's won at Michigan before in other series, but typically when it comes to Bubba Wallace, it's like, oh, Daytona or Talladega, yeah, he's got a shot, but everything else.
He said that Saturday after he got the pole that they had a tire test in Michigan back May 31st, June 1st. And he said in his press conference, it was going so well at that test that he took his team aside and said, all right, I usually circle Martinsville, Daytona, and Talladega as places I can win. He said, if we don't win this race at Michigan, I'm going to be very pissed off.
Yeah. And it showed in that post-race interview. I mean, he was visibly upset. He was fighting back tears, mostly upset at himself for that final restart there, wishing that he would have instead taken the high line behind Harvick and just really pushed Harvick away from everybody else and let the two of them duke it out. But once he got stuck behind Logano and battled with Larson there, that really just sunk any chance he had. And Kevin Harvick just drove away. He had a 4.5 second lead at one point.
It peaked at 4.4.
Yeah, something like that,
I believe. So, but no, Bubba had the fast car. It was him and Denny.
Yep.
I don't know who had the fastest car at the absolute end. But no, it was. I think this really came down to Bubba pitted at the competition caution, and that sent him back to the pack. I'm betting they wish they hadn't done that, because that would have probably changed things. But no, this is Bubba Wallace's best stretch of his career. And you can't say he can't race right now. So.
Right. And this is part of the reason why it's stretches like this and emotions like that he showed as to why he went to 23XI, why he bet on himself of leaving Richard Petty and going in this new venture with Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin. And he thought this would be the better chance for him to win long term. And it's a new organization with growing pains, certainly on driver pit crew, garage, the whole thing. It's a new team. There's going to be growing pains. But I just think that you get the sense, he's not upset if he doesn't think he has a chance to win, right? Like I feel like in an alternate universe, if he's still driving for Richard Petty and he comes in second, it might be one of those things where it's like, yeah, it was a good weekend, won the pole, had a good car. Yeah, I wish we had that restart back, but man, I'm really proud of myself. And here it's the inverse. But just because he's upset, I think that the fact that he's upset means more, given, what I'm trying to say here. The fact that he's upset means more than if he wasn't upset. I like to see him be that upset, because it means that he's in a position where he can win, where he does expect to do well on a week in, week out basis, especially right now. Because
how often do we see drivers show that? Really? Right. I mean, we don't, but there's no other driver in the sport that has more riding on his shoulders right now than Bubba Wallace.
Right. So, and even Kevin Harvick, and after he won, they played his radio in the car, and he sounded very emotional for Kevin Harvick. But then when he got out of the car and started doing this post-race interview, they were asking about how he felt, and he just kind of went back to the same old kind of bristly Harvick and kind of, fluffed off all the questions about how emotional of a win this was for him. Even though on the radio, you could tell there was a little something there for him, because
I never heard any of his radio communication.
I mean, there was some, Kevin Harvick is pretty flatline. He's almost always Kevin Harvick. There was something different in the way he sounded, because again, this is a huge relief off his shoulders. He hadn't won a race in 2 years. He was on the inside of the
65 races.
Yeah. And he was on the inside of the playoffs looking out. Now he's in, and now he could possibly be a spoiler if he gets on a run. And it's not like Kevin Harvick has had a bad season. Just in terms of regular season points, he's he's ninth. And he's been running well lately. They found some speed in that car. But again, it wasn't like he was the best car of the day. He just had a really good restart, and Bubba Wallace and Denny Hamlin got stuck in traffic on that last restart, and he just drove away. I mean, I will, crack my knuckles and say that I'm proud of myself for having a chaos pick turn out right here, because I picked Harvick.
Yes. If you're just now tuning in on our last episode, I think it was our last episode, we did our maximum chaos picks for. So see, like, if we could get a brand new winner for the last 6 races of the regular season. And John, you picked Harvick to win Michigan. I picked Bubba to win. So we 1-2 finish.
Yep. So and you look on paper here, and you've got 4 Toyotas in the top 10, including Ty Gibbs, who came in 10th.
First career top 10.
And on paper, you think, it's a good day for Toyota, but it still feels like they dropped the ball here. I mean, they dominated qualifying, and it just seemed like Ford was almost supposed to be an afterthought. Like, oh, of course, Ford. I mean, for most of the race, they were. Yeah.
Up until Kevin Harvick took the lead on that final sequence of pit stops, because he had pit right before the caution for Chastain and Christopher Bell, so he stayed out. He was fine, but up until that point, Ford had only led 1 lap in the entire race, and that was Chris Buescher, and I think that might have been under caution or something. Yeah. So they weren't a factor. It looked like it was going to come down to Trackhouse and Denny Hamlin and potentially Bubba Wallace. But no, and then after 2 years off, Kevin Harvick reassumed the mantle of the closer, and co-starring Kira Sedgwick. Deep cut TNT.
Christopher Bell, when they cut to Christopher Bell to his car being, wrecked from that incident with Chastain, I was like, oh no, what did Chastain do this time?
It was a racing deal.
It was a racing incident.
Both at fault.
Ross
didn't need to be doing that what he was doing on a front stretch. And Bell didn't need to block like he did.
No. And then poor Suarez had a tire incident. And, his tire incident could have been the final caution or a caution that would have brought about, a possible green-white checker overtime. And kudos to NASCAR for letting it play out.
Kudos. Like, come on. Like, if that's not a caution, then what is? This isn't Ricky Stenhouse at the end of the All-Star race. This is like a car's like, bang, it's not working.
Well, to be fair, Suarez made it to pit road. He never made any contact. The tire was shredded. There was debris on the track, but NASCAR, what NASCAR did here is what they should have done when Ricky Stenhouse had his incident at the All-Star race. But I think NASCAR made the right call. I do.
Oh, well. I'd rather see a shootout. So
oh, trust me, I would too. But like at the same time, like I want there to be a good reason for there to be a shootout, not just that guy blew a tire and made it back to pit road just fine and never tagged the wall and the race was never impeded. But yeah, let's bunch them all up again and go for it. That just wouldn't sit well with me. So
but no, Kevin Harvick, aged 46 years old, gets his first win of the year, his first win since the night race at Bristol in 2020. It's been a long time.
Yes. That feels like a lifetime ago.
I mean, it was in the height of the pandemic. So
that feels like a lifetime ago. Like it also feels like yesterday, but also feels like forever ago. It's crazy. Just we live in a time warp now. But yeah, no.
The part of this, like, he is 46 years old. It's the first year of the next gen car. He hadn't won after winning 9 races in 2020. It was him and Denny Hamlin, and he hadn't done anything. This year, I don't know. I know he finished.
It was like he just vanished off the radar. Like his career just hit the Bermuda Triangle, and you never heard from it again. Because he was so red hot, like you said, 9 wins, and like he was like the de facto favorite to win the championship that year. Like everyone just assumed he was going to point his way to the Final Four, even if he didn't win in the playoffs. He could just point his way because he had so many wins, and then you just never heard from him again.
Then he desperately tried to wreck Kyle Busch on the last lap at Martinsville in 2020, failed, didn't advance. So I know this year he finished second at Richmond. I can't remember off the top of my head any other notable finishes for him.
Well,
before
I'm looking at his ever since Darlington, actually, if you go all the way back to Talladega, Kevin Harvick only has he only has 5 races where he did not finish in the top 10, and one of those was a 12th place finish. So he's been consistent, and his overall points speaks to that because he's 9th in the overall point standings. This has just been a crazy year where almost everyone gets a win. At least all the big teams and big drivers seems to be getting at least one win. So
5 races since Talladega. So
yeah. And I mean, there's the road course at Indy, which was a mess, and he's not a particularly strong road course racer, I don't think. 27th at Pocono, but then 5th at New Hampshire, 12th at Atlanta, 10th at Road America, 10th at Nashville, 4th at Sonoma. Yeah, I mean, he could have won Sonoma if he didn't have that blunder on pit road. 33rd at Gateway. But I mean, point is, like, he's been consistent.
Yeah.
So it doesn't surprise me that he wins. Like, I know it's when you say Kevin Harvick on the outside of the playoffs, you think, oh, it must be a down year. It's just a crazy, insane year where everyone's getting wins. He's had the speed.
Ryan Blaney is like what top?
I think he's second. Yeah, he's second overall in points.
I thought I brought that up. And he's last. He's last on the playoff grid minus. I brought up. Minus 19 or plus 19. My bad.
Yes.
Over Martin Truex Jr. Truex Jr. is also in the top 10.
Yeah, he's 4th in points.
So
he's 4th in points.
It's. Well, there's a lot of people saying, "Oh man, is this proof that the system's broken?" Like,
no.
Why?
So we can go back to the old system where right now Chase Elliott would have a 120-point lead. Like, that's not an insurmountable. Like, he could, like, assuming you scrap the playoffs, there's enough races to where Chase Elliott could choke that away if he has horrendous bad luck. But like, We have no clue what's going to happen in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
But this system was designed to emphasize wins. And
Yeah.
this is the first time where it's really doing that.
Yes.
Like, oh my God. Like, it's crazy. But this was the way the rules were laid out. And it's just bizarre. It's not bizarre because with the next gen car, this was a situation that really could have presented itself, and it's doing it. Will this happen next year? Probably not. Probably not.
I mean, I hope so, but I hope so. But yeah, I would assume it's not like this again.
Because I mean, Richmond, we're going to Richmond. That's just the second race we're going to, second track we're going to for the second time this year. And then after that, you get one more. You get not just one more. You get Watkins Glen. In the playoffs, you got Homestead, and then you get the Roval. I believe that's it, right?
I believe so.
So
yeah, every other track they're going back to. Yeah.
So yeah, Kevin Harvick said in his post-race press conference, he's really, really happy. We're going to start going to races where you have something resembling a notebook.
Yeah.
To work off of instead of just like firing off into turn one. Like, all right, what's it gonna do?
Right.
So it's wow, but it's I on the Teardown podcast. I believe Jeff Gluck declared that this is the greatest season ever. We're like, is it? Is it the greatest season ever, John?
I don't know if it's the most. I don't know if it's the greatest season ever, but it's certainly in my lifetime. This is one of the more exciting seasons, certainly, just because you have no idea what each race is going to be every week.
Mm-hmm.
You have no clue who's going to win. I think the racing's been really good. This next gen car, aside from really short tracks, aside from short tracks, has really done a great job. And you see, all kinds of I don't want to say parody necessarily, but it's neat to see, teams like Trackhouse do well, and it's neat to see, I don't want to call Richard Childress a small team because they're a historic team and whatnot, but but still, like, they're a team that before the next gen car, they had Austin Dillon, who would get a win every 2 years or something like that, every 18 months, and now they got Tyler Reddick with 2 wins this year. And I don't know if he gets that in the last car.
This is the first time since the Kevin Harvick era that one driver for RCR has more than one win in a season. So
it's no, this is great. I don't see how you could look at how entertaining and exciting this season has been and been like, oh, let's go back to the old way. No way. Why? So Kevin Harvick can win this race and be like, or like you just don't get, or to go back to Bubba Wallace for a minute, or even Denny Hamlin. Let's take Denny Hamlin. How about that? We've talked about Bubba enough. Let's go to Denny Hamlin. He's got a great car. He can win. There's another pit issue that hurts him, that costs him a win, but he still finishes third, leads a bunch of laps, has a good point day.
Yeah.
He has a good point day. If it's the old system, he just chalks it up to a good point day, and then you just move on. And honestly, under their old system, Denny Hamlin would be 17th in points. Like he would have no shot. He would have no shot. Yeah. But with this system that emphasizes winning, and Denny Hamlin is a driver who has had several wins coughed away.
Yeah. I believe the numbers he's had his team has like 30 pit road penalties.
Yeah.
Like, what in the world?
Yeah. They've given away that team. They've won 2 races? They've given away
Richmond, the Coke 600.
Yeah, and there's other races they could have won, like just this week.
Yeah,
and those are a lot of playoff points they've just coughed away on pit road and through other things. Like, yeah, that's way more interesting and way more riveting and way more compelling to watch than the old system. Yeah, no,
here's my framing for it. I guess when I think of greatest season ever, I part of the equation for me is like iconic moments. Like 10 years from now, when we look back at the season, what are the things we're going to be pointing to? It's like that define like this year.
Oh gosh, It's hard
because like we have the 5 first-time winners.
Yeah.
So you could point to one of those, Suarez getting his win, Chastain's first watermelon smash in the Cup Series. But right now, I don't really.
Apples to apples. Then what if we just say it like this? Is this the best playoff era season?
Maybe. Oh, I think we feel like we need to get to the playoffs and experience the playoffs before we can say that.
Yeah, because who knows? I mean, the playoffs might just be, like Team Hendrick just wins every playoff race, and just totally sucks the air out of the balloon.
I will say, like, Bristol Dirt, that finish, that's iconic. That's definitely
and that's Kyle Busch's only win this season.
I really had it in the back of my mind that he'd won 2. I really did.
If Chase Briscoe does not take out Tyler Reddick there, Kyle Busch could be on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
And then that complicates his whole contractual situation even more. Like it's the butterfly effect. And you go back to Austin Cindric winning the Daytona 500. I mean, that if he doesn't win, there's Ryan Blaney's win.
Well, actually, no. It was Bubba Wallace who finished second.
Bubba Wallace was second.
His right front fender missed.
But Blaney was in the lead. Blaney was in the lead coming to the checkered flag. When there was contact between teammates there going for the win. But that possibly could be Ryan Blaney's win, and that was all the way back in week 1. And here we are, 26 races in. If you're that good and you're that consistent, you should have a win by now. And I know, I know that Truex and Blaney are struggling in those regards to really put it all together in 1 week. But like, you've had 26 races to do it, and you haven't.
And like the rules were laid out at the start. You're all flying underneath them.
Yeah, you knew exactly. Yeah, you knew exactly what you had to do. You got to win. And I think Truex was especially. I mean, how silly must he feel? Because all those weeks ago, he's like, "Yeah, we'll be fine." Like even during interviews, he was asked, "Like, do you think you have to win to get in?" He's like, "Nah, we'll be fine."
No, I don't remember. I don't remember when exactly it was, but like someone asked Denny Hamlin, "Do you think we're going to get the 17 winners?" Or 16 winners? Like, no way, that's not going to happen. and then on pit road after the race on Sunday, Brian Blaney came over and someone asked him, "So can you? Is it believable to you or whatever? Can you believe that we actually might get to 16 winners?" And he said, "I could believe it now."
Yeah.
Or another way it was phrased, could you have ever imagined that we'd get to 15 winners or whatever? He said, "I can now." So
it's just a failure of imagination. I mean, maybe this is just me being a pessimist, but I always prepare for the worst. So
is that the title of this episode, Failure of Imagination?
Yeah, sure. Because we very easily could have a situation where we have 18 winners. We could have 3 new winners in the next race. Truex could win at Richmond. Blaney could win at Daytona or whatever. Truex could win Watkins Glen. And then you have a wild card at Daytona. Blaney could win at Richmond. Like you don't know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Just because something seems implausible doesn't mean it's impossible.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and especially right from the beginning of the season when it just was like new winner. And it's just like, this is going to fill up pretty quickly, guys. And you just,
this all changed after Reddick's win. That's when like, oh dear.
Yes. And I mean, like Austin Cindric, you don't pick him to win the 500. I don't pick Chase Briscoe to get a win this season.
You did?
No, I think he would have had a good season, but I didn't pick it. Like, when you pick the drivers who are going to get a win to get into the playoffs, Chase Briscoe's not on that list for me. And you kind of think that about Kurt Busch just because he's he's a win-a-year guy. Yeah, but you have to write him in. He's going to a new team, and so it's an expanded team with a new scenario for him. Plus he's getting long in the tooth. You never know when a driver is going to win their last race, like they said on the teardown. We just went 2 years without Kevin Harvick winning. I'm I'm just saying that that's not a stretch of the imagination for me. Who would have thought that Ross Chastain would get 2 wins? I mean, or even, just point being, like, there's just a lot of guys here who have wins that you wouldn't think, they're definitely going to get one. And now, here we are, and you're Martin Truex and Ryan Blaney.
That's the surprise winner, everyone.
Yeah, that's Ryan. It's Ryan.
That's Ryan Truex's music.
Oh God. So I mean, but then, like, imagine if you're Martin Truex or Ryan Blaney, you don't win either of the next 2 races, and then you got to bet it all on Daytona, along with Bubba Wallace or Eric Almirola or Chris Buescher or Eric Jones or Austin Dillon and all these other guys.
That race will not be as calm as it was last year, because it was calm last year up until the very end.
Yes,
that will not be the case. This will be get to the absolute front no matter how you possibly can, and you stay there.
Yep.
No matter how you possibly can.
Yep. Or even guys like Ricky Stenhouse or Michael McDowell, they could do it too. I mean, that Daytona race is going to be bananas. I can't wait.
No, Brad Keselowski, he's the guy.
Yep.
After the way he raced in the Daytona 500, just imagine what he's going to before his penalty. Like,
yep.
That, I mean, I would, like, they better put an onboard camera on Keselowski's car, because I want to watch it the entire time.
No, it's going to be really fun, and I can't wait. And I wish we didn't have another Richmond race to sit through to get to it. So
hey, man, it could be different. It's going to be warmer. It was cool back in the spring.
Hey,
we don't know.
I hope it is better. I genuinely hope it is better. We'll see. Who did you pick for your chaos pick? Mine was Eric Almirola, which that was just a real chaos pick.
I meant to actually go back and listen to our picks to make sure, but I don't remember.
Okay.
I might have actually written it down. Hold on. Vamp, quick.
This episode of Dropping the Hammer is brought to you by Squarespace. Do you need a new web design that doesn't look like absolute trash? Go to Squarespace. Use offer code HAMMER to get 10% off. Let them know that the Dropping the Hammer podcast with Daniel McFadin sent you.
I don't see my notebook.
No, it's fine. It's fine. That was a good impromptu commercial.
That's not far off from your NPR voice. Right?
Yes. Yeah, you just have to be calm and, whimsical with a little bit of curiosity to it.
Understating something that's horrifying.
Yeah. The president of Sri Lanka was arrested today for horrific war crimes for committing genocide against his people. Anyways, let's talk about NASCAR. I'm joking. And
now in stocks.
Now for something completely different. So we've kind of taken the big picture here. Post Michigan. I know it's been a while and you've been on the road and you've been traveling.
Yeah.
What else would you kind of like to dig into here?
So we didn't get to talk about Pocono or Indy, and we did get to talk about Indy in person.
Yes,
in your living room.
That race was good.
Why
do people?
The majority of the questions asked of drivers during the media availabilities over the weekend, it felt like it was like 75% about what'd you think about that race at the end of Indy, and like it was terrible, right? You hated it, right? And yeah, drivers didn't like it. Daniel Suarez didn't like it. Kevin Harvick hated it, but he hates the track. And I was standing there and all these hurdles, like talking about, like, we're at Michigan. Can we ask questions about Michigan?
I know.
No, there was rough racing at the end of a road course race.
Right, right.
With a narrow first turn when there's 2 spots left in the playoffs. What are we talking about?
I know. And you know what? I wish those drivers could have seen how the fans reacted when I was where I was sitting. Like, the fans loved it where I was sitting. There was not a single person sitting around me. And I sat in turn 1 there at the Oval. There's not a single person sitting around me that thought that was like a bad race. They all were cheering whenever there was bumping and beating and bashing. They enjoyed it. It was fun. And, like, to your point, it's a road course race with with narrow turns where only a few playoff spots are left. Yeah.
Chase Elliott. I should upload this to YouTube. He was asked about it, and this was kind of also in relation to the safety of the car in a way, but his answer was like, when the fans were asking, when we were asking for a more durable car for more rough housing racing, and it was like, this is what we got. I was like, this man.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got the personality of a cardboard cutout, but he's right.
Yeah. And look, I get where Chase Elliott's coming from, because he's good at road courses. Like, these sorts of things are just suitable for his driving style. Kevin Harvick has won 3 times on the oval.
Yeah.
Like, and Kyle Busch has won multiple times on the oval. The guys who win on the oval want to go back to the oval for obvious reasons. The guys who can win on the road course are fine with it staying on the road course. Like, I know that Daniel Suarez is bummed because of how his race ended, but like, he ran top 5 all day until he had some tire issues there. I think he got a tire cut on that final restart because there was some contact. But like I think it's great. It's fun. Like, the fact that Indy even resonates at all is a win for the road course race, because when it was on the oval for the last 10 years, it's not resonated. It's been nothing.
We weren't talking about it a weekend later.
No. The story about the race was, the story about the oval was, oh, can it be saved? And the story about the road course was, man, that was crazy. Do you hate it? like, I don't know. I'm fine with it, and I hope it stays on the road course. I really do. And I know that, and we've discussed this in person, and I've even said this on the podcast, the real answer here is move the cup cars to IRP, but they've got to, they have to build up facilities out there. There's desperately.
Unfortunately, there's no way that's going to happen.
They have to build a facility. There's no suites there. If there are suites,
just the main argument I hear from people is sponsors. Sponsors don't want to advertise for a car at that track. They want to go to the big track, which that makes sense. I get it.
Does. It absolutely does. And you know what? If you're NASCAR, would you rather get 60,000 at the Speedway, which wasn't the attendance that was announced, or would you rather sell out a 30,000 seat venue, which is what IRP is? And they've taken it. When I went to the truck race on Friday, they took out a lot of seats.
Yeah,
they've taken out a lot of seats, and they pretty much made like some general admission like grass seating in the turns over there, but they've taken out a lot of seating. And it was fine. It was fine for the truck race, but it was just obvious, like, oh, there's no way this could be a Cup Series race.
Well,
without
when your big ticket items get taken away, there's no point. You have to take out those stands.
Yeah,
now they're back. So
it could possibly happen, but like, it's a long way down the road before we get there. And in the meantime, I'm more than happy for it to stay on the road course, because that was going into that race. I was thinking, the first year, everybody wanted to talk about turn 6 and how much of a chaos it was and how much devastation it caused. And I thought without that, maybe it wouldn't be as compelling. And I was completely wrong, because turn 1 was great. Like, there was all kinds of passing and bumping and beating and banging, and there was lots of accidents on the course. And in the IndyCar race, you never see accidents on that. It's almost always green flag. It's almost always green flag to green flag on that course. But it was really fun. I enjoyed it. I think it's great. And also shout out to Tyler Reddick, not Tyler Reddick. I'm sorry, Austin Dillon, for bringing out a caution while Tyler Reddick was in the lead. Good teammate. Anyways, no, I tease, but also
so you, as our Indianapolis correspondent, like, give us the what was the at track experience like for IRP? What was that like after 10 years away for NASCAR?
It was really cool. It was really cool. It was a sold out crowd. That was my first time being back there since the last truck race I went to, and that was like 04, 05. I think it was Denny Hamlin's first truck race. Either way,
no, they raced there up until the same year that Xfinity left, 11 or 10.
I hadn't been to any of those races since that time. So like 2004 is the last time.
Oh, okay.
So
all right.
I
was at the last Xfinity race there. So
I wish Xfinity had raced there too, but man, the road course racing's been okay. But I think this year's race was just the AJ Allmendinger show. I'm willing to give it another try.
The truck race I watched it at a bar watching with a friend. on a TV with no sound. And so I was just getting the visual picture. I was like, this race looks amazing.
It was great. It was gret. Sold out. Lots of people on general admission lawn seating. The racing was really good. It was really fun to see. And it just bummed me out that they even went away in the first place, because it was like hand in glove. Truck Series playoff race under the lights at IRP in front of an enthusiastic sold out crowd. Yeah, that was fun. I would gladly go back and do that again next year. So.
If NASCAR takes that race off the schedule again for whatever reason, that's just insane.
Yeah, and
absolutely insane.
And even all the drivers were glad to be back too. You could tell that all the teams and drivers were enthusiastic to be there, because again, like that was a huge, like, truck races hardly ever get a sellout crowd, and like it was sold out. Like it was packed. Like even for the ARCA race, a lot of people showed up early for the ARCA race, which was a snooze fest. But like,
it is ARCA.
People. That's just my point though. Like people were that excited for NASCAR series racing to be back there. That, you know, even ARCA had a damn near sellout crowd. It was really fun. And if you're back in town next year, highly encourage you to try and make it to the truck series race.
I wanted to, but I didn't get a credential. But then I also wanted to go see my friend who I hadn't seen since we were in school. So
I get it. No, I totally get it. But we'll do it again next year.
We got 6 people watching, or I think 5, including it's 5 counting me. So
hi mom.
Of the 5 people in here, say something in the chat. What do you guys what do you guys think about NASCAR this weekend at Michigan? Anyone? Anyone? There's a delay. So
while we get some answers or questions, do we want to do our Rotten Tomatoes Gluck poll?
All right. Okay.
Our Rotten Gluck Tomatoes poll.
Okay. Let me bring up.
That's a working title. We don't have to keep it like that. So Rotten Gluck Tomatoes. I was going to try and go to the tweet up at the road course race, but I didn't get a chance to. But hopefully, I get a chance to meet Mr. Gluck in person someday.
All right, so it's time for our next round of the Jeff Gluck Good Race Poll versus Rotten Tomatoes. And for anyone not familiar with it, we take the score of the weekly Good Race Poll that the Athletics Jeff Gluck puts out on Twitter, though now it's via Google, via Twitter or whatever, however. And then we take that score and me and John each pick a movie and we have to guess. We make each other guess what the Rotten Tomatoes score is compared to the Good Race Poll score, and let's guess which is higher or lower. And so this week on the Good Race Poll, it was 90.7%, making it the 23rd member of the 90% club. It's the best Michigan race out of 12 in the poll. The previous best was the 2020 Saturday race, which got 77.3. It is the 5th race of 2022 to hit 90%, which is a new record for any year in the poll. And all are on 1.5 2-mile races, which is just mind-boggling. That's the case, but that's what are you going to do in the year of next gen? And the Michigan score is the number 2 race behind Fontana, which I wouldn't. And he posted a screenshot or whatever of the scores so far this year. And the top 5 are Auto Club, Michigan, Charlotte, Las Vegas, and Kansas. And then Daytona's 6, then Talladega 7, Darlington 8, Coda 9, and the Clash is number 10. So I would have put Charlotte above Michigan, Kansas above Michigan, and Darlington.
I'd put Daytona above Michigan too, and Talladega.
So, but yeah.
I mean, I still think Michigan was a good race. I just think those races were better.
So anyway, we have picked our movies that we are going to pit against each other. Mr. LaFollette.
Yes.
So, all right, do you want to go first?
I will let you go first because I have a feeling we might have picked the same movie. So I need to be, and you chose your movie first. So I'll let you get first dig. So what was give me your best shot.
So this race was in the state of Michigan.
Yes.
Which is the home of Ford. And during this trip, I went to the Henry Ford Museum. I got to see, there's a lot of really cool things at the Ford Museum, including the Rosa Parks bus that she refused to give up her seat on down in Alabama, which helped, spark the civil rights movement. I got to sit in her seat, man. I got to sit in the Rosa Parks seat.
That's cool.
They also have Simon Pagenaud's Indy 500 winning car there.
Nice.
So I was not expecting to see that since that's a Chevy car.
I would love to own that, man.
Where are you gonna put it down in the basement? Like just kind of like
yeah. No, I'll just keep it out in my garage. I'll park my Honda Civic hatchback on the street and I'll keep my 2019 Indy car winner in the garage next to my next to my Busch Light fridge.
You take a lawn chair, you sit in the driveway, open up your garage door, and you just watch people like drive by and go, "What the?" It's like, yeah,
that sounds great. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, if I win
Indy 500 winner.
Yeah, if I win the Powerball, I'll call it Mr. Penske and cut him a blank check. Like, hey, how much for the 2019 Pagenaud winning car? Anyways, so yes, what movie did you pick?
All right, so since this is Michigan, home of Ford, I picked a somewhat recent movie starring Mr. Matt Damon and Mr. Christian Bale. It's a racing movie. Goes by the name of Ford versus Ferrari.
You wanna beat a Ford you wanna beat a Ferrari with a Ford. So good. Movie rules. Actually, tying back to the 2019 Indy 500, both Matt Damon and Christian Bale waved the green flag that year. And they had just started promoting Ford versus Ferrari. And I didn't know anything about that movie other than it was going to be a racing movie and it had Batman and Matt Damon. And I was in. I didn't even see a trailer. I was in. I was like, this movie is going to rule. And I wasn't disappointed. That was probably my second favorite movie. I don't know. That's probably my favorite movie of 2019. Like that movie.
It was good. It was good.
Like that
they tried to swap out
Daytona for Fontana,
which I get it. Hollywood's in California, but I just looked at that. I was like, oh, come on, guys.
Yep.
Daytona didn't have lights in 1960 whatever.
Yeah. It's fine. That's my one little nitpicky thing, but that's like a diehard racing like fan thing, which I get. But no, I genuinely love that movie. I've seen it a million times. I have the soundtrack on vinyl.
Everything on vinyl.
Ford versus Ferrari in 1917 were my two favorite movies of 2019, and it has to beat 91%. Oh, it's higher. Yeah.
Final answer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That movie. Okay. Yeah. The movie's better than 91%.
Ford versus Ferrari has a 92%.
Let's go. Let's go. Great. That makes me happy. I'm gonna update this right now. Ford versus Ferrari, and it was 92. Cool. So that puts us tied all time 3-3. So I can take the lead here.
All right.
Well, actually, no, we're tied. The best I can do is tie. So if you don't get this, we stay tied, and I can try and take the lead next week. Okay. Well, you know how Kevin Harvick used to be a wrestler in high school. Yep. He's kind of a scrappy guy. You don't want to mess with him, I guess what I'm trying to say is that he's a bad mother. Shut your mouth. There's another gentleman that had a film come out in the 1970s who was also a bad mother. Shut your mouth. And his name was Shaft. And he had a movie by the same name as Shaft. And I believe the actor who played him was from
Richard Roundtree.
Yeah, I believe he's from Michigan, was he not? I'm gonna look it up real quick. He was from nowhere close. He's from New York. So but yes, was the Michigan Good Race poll higher or lower than
the original Shaft movie?
The original Shaft from 1971, starring Bad Mother Shut Your Mouth.
Good Race Ball's higher.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Shaft was a bad mother shut your mouth. Everyone loves a bad mother shut your mouth.
Well,
correct. Yes, the Michigan race was higher. Shaft has an 87%.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no, the first Shaft is cool, man.
I watched the remake with Samuel L. Jackson and Christian Bale.
He's in the remake?
Yeah. Came out
I know
in 2000?
Okay, that one. I was thinking about the one they had a couple years ago that had
Samuel L. Jackson was in that too.
And and also Richard Roundtree and somebody else. I'm like, it looked terrible. I never saw it. But I didn't know Christian Bale was in the remake from the.
Yeah, he's the bad guy. He's the main.
Yes. Oh,
this was just a couple of years before American Psycho. So
I guess this ties everything together with Christian Bale. So you are ahead 4-3. Oh, we're coming up.
Like to thank my sponsors, Sweet Tarts and Chuck Klosterman's the 90s.
I also want to give a shout out to the people that made this bathrobe that I'm wearing. I don't know who it is. Probably some sweatshop worker in a faraway third world country. Got paid like 2 cents. Thank you for your services. Truly could not be here without you. Anything else? I feel like we've kind of touched all the bases here. Oh,
we got two comments in the comments from Mindstorm 10, who's also named Adam, who apparently I sat with at the Southern 500 a few years ago. He said Michigan for me had an old school feel. Kind of curious how it would have raced without the resin, mojo juice, whatever you want to call it.
Mojo juice.
I don't know. I've never heard it called that before. Yeah, I'm curious too. I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those things where the race on Sunday was so entertaining. It's just one of those things I didn't necessarily give a thought to. Like the traction compound is only ever really thought about like if the racing's bad. And
no one's talked about it since Sunday. So it hasn't been a topic of conversation. So it wasn't. I mean, it's a good question. It wasn't glaring. Yeah, we weren't talking about it during the race or after.
Yeah.
So
it's something to ponder for sure. But I mean, with the racing as good as it was, the track surface seems fine.
Yeah. So, and the other comment was from Humperdink. Fang Bonner.
It's my mom's burner account.
Okay.
I'll tell her to change it.
They said I'm just glad Bubba Wallace did well. So
yep, same. And I picked him he was my spoiler. He was my chaos pick for the Daytona, and if he keeps running as well as he has, and obviously Daytona is a crapshoot at all times, really, but he runs well there, and it's good to see him, running well and being up there, and especially given the way the season's gone. This season was supposed to be the real sort of breakout 23-11 season, and just has not gone that way. So it's really cool to see this last month.
Kurt Busch got his win.
Right.
Bubba Wallace is on the best streak of his career right now. So I mean,
but they just had a lot of growing pains that really sidetracked the first part of their season. And Bubba had some on-track issues that weren't necessarily his fault. He could be involved with someone else's wreck to the right place, wrong place, wrong time. So, but no, yes, good to see him doing well.
So we're going back to Richmond. It's the second race of the year that we're going to a repeat track. The first was Atlanta. And the spring Richmond race was very, very old school. Not a lot of cautions. The race ended on a huge green flag run that everyone kind of slept on Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick because it wasn't really telegraphed well via the broadcast that due to pit strategy and stuff that Hamlin and Kevin Harvick were just barreling through the field. And with I guess 10 laps to go, it's like, oh wait, here comes Hamlin. And then with a few laps to go, Hamlin gets by William Byron, and then Kevin Harvick does too, and Hamlin gets his first one of the year. So that was in the early spring, cooler temperatures. It's should be warm this weekend. So hopefully that will produce a good race, memorable race. So who is your pick for Richmond, Mr. John?
My chaos pick was Eric Almirola. My actual pick. I'm gonna go Truex.
Okay, Truex. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Harvick. I'm gonna go Harvick back to back.
Back to back. Okay. I really hope that this is the last time we see Richmond on the schedule twice.
Yeah. Unless they need to do something to the track. They need to redo it or something.
Or something. Yeah, do something with it. But this track does not merit. If Michigan and Pocono don't merit 2 races, then Richmond sure as hell does not merit 2 races. I really hope NASCAR gets wise to that.
The only argument against that will say, well, fans are clamoring for more short tracks. You're going to take a short track off?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I'd rather have a good race somewhere else than have another. Don't go to a short track for the sake of going to a short track, even if it's just a short track.
Yeah, well, AJ Allmendinger made that same argument about going back to the Oval. If we're just going to go back to the Oval, the Indianapolis Oval, just for the sake of tradition, I was there in 2018, and it was pitiful. It was sad what the stands looked like.
Yeah.
And the Richmond stands aren't great. So at all.
So if Richmond were to lose a second race, what would they replace it with?
I don't know.
Because we know that Road America got replaced by Chicago. So what would be the stand? What would be the stand-in? Do you give Bristol 3 races, have the dirt track, and then night right now? No. I mean, I'm being facetious. I know you don't. But
Homestead.
Do you? I know North Wilkesboro's open again, but do you go back there already?
No, you don't go to already. That's a project that they have to That's not happening for a while.
I'm just throwing stuff against the wall. I don't know where they would go. Unless you want to give a second race back to Michigan or Fontana, but I don't think that's a good idea either.
Now the stands were not packed at Michigan.
No,
it might have had the best attendance in 6 years, but it was not full by any measure. Or
how about this? Just build in another week off.
But that takes away money from NASCAR.
I know.
So
someone's got to look out for the Roger Penske's and the Rick Hendricks and the Michael Jordans of the world, because Lord knows, with all this inflation and these high gas prices, they are hurting. I know. All those billions and billions. Instead of having an 8-car garage, they'll have to have a 7-car garage. It's hard times.
Can't have that.
Nope. Because then our whole society collapses. Yeah, I think I've said my piece.
All right.
I agree with you basically on Richmond. I hope it's a good race. Wait and see. But I hope this is the last. I hope this is the last time I talk about this track twice in 1 year.
Which is just astounding to me, because just 20 years ago it was just the top tier highlight of the season.
Yeah.
And just times change, cars change, audience attitudes change, racing changes, and
that's okay.
So
that's okay.
So
it's okay.
Anyway, I think that will do it for us. I'm Dale McFadin. You can find my writing at frontstretch.com, speedsport.com. I'll have this podcast will be attached to my column for this week at frontstretch.com on Kevin Harvick and him ending his winning streak and how he
his winless streak.
Ending his winless streak. He commented about, sure, I went 65 races without a win. I was in danger of missing the playoffs, but none of this compares to when I had to take over for Dale Earnhardt back in 2001. Like that, nothing compares to that. Nothing will ever compare to that. So this is easy. This is easy.
That's fair.
So.
That's a completely valid point. I also will plug shamelessly for you as well. I will say that I really enjoyed the piece you wrote on Bubba Wallace after Michigan. So if you haven't done that, please do Daniel a solid and check that out too, because I thought it was very good.
Yeah, I wrote about what the immediate aftermath was of Bubba Wallace's second place finish at Michigan. So please check that out. Check out everything I read at Front Stretch. Follow me on Twitter at Daniel McFadden. Subscribe on YouTube, youtube.com/Daniel McFadden. I currently have a video up that cracked 103,000 views today. It's a video of Denny Hamlin watching Bubba Wallace's pole run Saturday and his reaction to it. I was just sitting in the media center, minding my own business, just kind of waiting, both watching qualifying and like doing media availability. And then I just looked over to my right and there's Denny Hamlin just sitting down, watching, getting ready to watch his driver go on his qualifying run because he had a shot at it. He had a shot at the pole. And so I just like got my phone out, just started recording him. And Bubba Wallace crosses the line and Denny Hamlin goes, damn. And then he looks to his right at the scoring monitor and goes, holy shit. Because Bubba got the pole, but got it convincingly.
Yes.
It was at like 190.7 miles per hour. He was the only driver to crack 190. So
yeah, it was on the Mickey D's car was on rails. Even though he didn't win, I still went out and got a 20-piece nugget and fries after the race on Sunday.
You're a 20-piece guy, right?
Hey man, I had a very light lunch that day. So yeah, don't nugget shame me, bro. Don't kink shame me.
I get 10. All right, 10's my number. Though.
I mean, I normally will go for 10, but you know what? Bubba was in a sad mood, and I wanted to do what I can to help Bubba's psyche, and by doing that, I just ate 10 more nuggets. I'm sure Bubba really appreciated that. So
that will be the title of this episode. Don't nugget shame me.
Don't nugget shame me. All right, man. I appreciate it.
But anyway, all right. So where can I find you, John?
I'm on Twitter at Jon LaFollette, and I'm on Instagram at Jon LaFollette. So, and the news that I've been sharing on my socials is today I got to make it official that I accepted my first ever attorney gig. So that'll be fun.
We do not endorse any law advice given on this podcast.
Hey, no, I won't give you advice. But no, I'll be a public defender for the state of Indiana doing post-conviction relief. So helping out those behind bars who are looking to still exercise the rights that they have under the Constitution. So looking forward to it.
Very, very, very worthwhile job.
Yep.
So anyway, this has been Dropping the Hammer with Dale McFadden. I'm Dale McFadden. Thank you again, John, for joining me. And we'll hopefully be back next week after Richmond going into Watkins Glen. So please like and subscribe on your favorite platform and tell your friends about us as we gear up for the playoff run. And hopefully we're in for some more excitement. So I'm Dale McFadden. This has been Dropping the Hammer. Everyone have a great week.
But what would Kyle Petty think? Had to bring it back in. All right, man. I got a vamonos for the night. It was good talking to you. And let me know when this is up, and I'll spread it on my socials as well. So.
And he's gone. All right. Okay.